Next in the video, you'll be watching a video from online. The lady will be kind of going in a little bit more depth about what vertical angles are, what supplementary and complementary angles are, kind of explaining it a little bit better. Also, there'll be a part in there where you'll be listening to her talk about the angles of a triangle. Make sure you're paying attention to all that information. If you need to run it back and play it again to copy it down, that's fine with me. And remember, once you've completed this video, double click the home button, close the video, close your iPad, and then start your worksheet. Turn the worksheet into the sub when you are finished. If at any time you would like to watch the video again to remind yourself of anything, just let the sub know that you want to do that, and she will let you do that. Okay? Thanks again for your hard work.
When you first learn about angles, you learn 4 words about angles of different sizes: acute, right, obtuse, and straight angles. These terms all describe a single angle, but there are also terms that describe pairs of angles. These are vertical, supplementary, and complementary angles. Suppose 2 lines cross one another. There are now 4 angles. Let's give them names A, B, C, and D.
Pause the video, copy it down.
The angles opposite one another are the same. So A and C are the same size, and B and D are equal. We call angles across from one another vertical angles. You'd say this fact more simply, as vertical angles are equal. Let's focus on the top half for a moment. These 2 angles form a straight angle, a 180-degree angle. This means that A plus B equals 180 degrees. Whenever 2 angles add up to 180 degrees, we call them supplementary angles. The reason there's a name for this special case is because in geometry and trigonometry, you'll encounter this situation a lot. Do note that 2 angles don't have to be next to each other to be supplementary. For example, these 2 angles are supplementary because their sum is 180 degrees. Next, let's look at a right triangle. This angle measures 90 degrees. Let's call the other 2 angles A and B. Since the sum of the angles of any triangle equals 180 degrees, we have A plus B plus 90 degrees equals 180 degrees. If you subtract 90 degrees from both sides, you get A plus B equals 90 degrees. Because right triangles are so common in geometry and trigonometry, there's a term for 2 angles that add to 90 degrees: complementary angles. Here's a way to remember the difference between complementary and supplementary angles. When somebody says something and you totally agree with them, you might say, "You're right!" It's kind of a compliment. And 2 complementary angles form a right angle. Let's see an example. What is the size of the angle A? These 2 angles are supplementary, so A plus 65 degrees equals 180 degrees. If you subtract 65 from both sides, you get A equals 115 degrees. Let's see another example. Suppose these 2 angles are complementary. What is the size of angle B? Well, if 2 angles are complementary, then their sum is 90 degrees. So 35 degrees plus B equals 90 degrees. If you solve for B, you get B equals 55 degrees.
Did you catch that part about triangles?
Next, let's look at a right triangle. This angle measures 90 degrees. Let's call the other 2 angles A and B. Since the sum of the angles of any triangle equals 180 degrees.
That's what I'm talking about. Did you hear her say what the sum of all the angles of a triangle are?
We have A plus B plus 90 degrees.
What'd she say it was? Angle A plus angle B plus the 90-degree angle. That's all the angles inside that triangle. What's it going to be equal to?
Equals 180 degrees.
That is correct, and that is true for every triangle. every triangle, all three of them, add up to 180 degrees. Go ahead and get the worksheet from the sub. Work the problems on the back side, put your answers on the front. Turn it into the sub before you leave. Make sure your name's on it. Thanks for your hard work.